Hello, I'm Herm Gailey. We're here this morning with a colt we call Mike. You've probably seen him in some other sequences as we work toward the first ride with him, which we're closing in on. And the question remains, am I going to get on him or am I going to get somebody else to climb on him? Again, I kind of revealed the birthday problem. And, you know, it makes you think, how long can you keep doing this? It's also damn hard to give up. So I'm always in favor of doing something instead of not doing it. So far that's the way I'm inclined. But if he was to do something really uncivilized and scare the hell out of me, I'd find somebody else who wasn't afraid to die to get on him. I don't think that's going to happen, but let's find out. This video we call Mike Meets Milk Jugs. Now, I don't have, believe it or not, any milk jugs to tie on him because I've gradually accumulated more durable stuff. But if you want to do this, the cheapest, easiest, most abundant thing to come up with are gallon milk jugs. So this horse, full disclosure, has been through this. A little hard to always coordinate real life with a filming schedule. So this will show what we did and what we're doing to continue to desensitize him. But this is not the first time he's had these milk jugs tied on him. He has not been any trouble. What I like to do is I'll have this set up so I'm not sitting there trying to tie these up if the horse gets trouble. I just put a snap on, have them with a loop tied into the handle. It's a Shoshin gallon. They're state of the art for this. And I just clip it on the D. Then we've got some other interesting items we can use. I've got an old fishing buoy that we picked up on some beach somewhere. Gee, I could almost write a song about that. This makes a little noise. It flops around just like you like it. So I'm going to clip that on the back D. Most important, I have the pink flamingo. This flamingo has been on every horse and I've started in the last 20 years. And I can tell you, you cannot start a horse without a pink flamingo. I would never think of getting on a young horse that wasn't flamingo broke. So this is actually the first time he's had pinky on him, but let's see how that goes. We're going to tie that in such a way that it will bang off the other things that are already on him. I will tell you that old Pinky here tends to buck off real easily. So if he flies off in the course of the process, that's how it goes. Got kind of a hackamore tied on him or a neck rope, and we'll see how that works. Then we'll tie some things off the other side. I've got some Shoshin jugs that I can tie on the front D. That's two of them and they'll rattle together. I've got one to put on the back D. And then this will be the first for him. I had some shavings bags that we had used, and I'm just going to tie one of them on him. I think maybe on the off side here. And you know what that is, buddy? It's a little different. And the idea is to move him around with these things and just let all this stuff kind of hang and rattle. And I'll tell you, I almost always lose some of it, and I just put up with it, you know. Getting better at it with those clips, but we may have the whole round pen littered with the carcasses of Shoshins and maybe the pink flamingo and a fishing buoy here and there. But the idea is to get him used to having these things hang and rattle on him. Because I'm going to get on his back at some point and I kind of hang and rattle. And I'd like him to be a little prepared for that. Also, He has now been round penned several times, not a lot of times, with this saddle on. I have substituted the little kid saddle that we use for the first couple of saddlings and put on a riding saddle. It's got big old aluminum stirrups on that sort of hang down where my legs hang, and they sort of bang a little. They'll probably bang against the flamingo and all, and you'll have that whole cacophony of sound taking place. I want him to just line out like he's been doing in the round pen without anything on him. No saddle, no nothing. I don't want this stuff to signify anything. Then the odds are better than when I get on his back, he won't be overreactive. So let's kind of see how this goes. I favor turning them loose. Once in a while I've had a little trouble catching them if they blow apart, but I just prefer to take the halter off. Send them out on the fence with all that stuff on them and see if it provokes any kind of unexpected response. See how he's doing at this point. Now what I like to do, if I can, is to see if my horse will walk a full trip around. It's the most neglected gait anyway, but even more so in the round pen. People immediately send their horse off like a bomb. Had a fella say one time, the hardest thing you can do in a round pen is walk your horse the whole way around, never break into a trot, then reverse directions and walk the other way. And see, he's moving his lips, sticking his tongue out. That's a good sign, as we all know. Now I'm going to catch his eye, turn him back the other way, but just keep him walking. This is a colt that thinks for himself, and thankfully he tends to use his brain to keep himself out of trouble. I value that in a horse because the time will come when I need him to think for himself and for me. When we're riding down a slippery hill in the wintertime, when there's a truck coming at him and I don't know what that tarp on the back of the truck is doing, I need him to make the right choices because I can't make them all for him. So he sort of picked that up on his own, but I'm fine with that. And here's what I like. See where his head is? That's a sign of relaxation. All of that stuff banging around on him, that's just background noise. Just background noise. I will turn him in. Well, and I would much prefer if he would turn to the inside, although that was a very nice move. I enjoyed seeing what he could do, but it wasn't really what I had in mind, and he has not been doing that, but I think his mindset's a little different because of having these things on him. Because typically, he's been pretty good about turning back to the inside. See, he's still thinking of turning to the outside. There we go. Now what I don't do is I don't turn them and chase them off right away. Let that turn be a relaxing thing. Because if a horse is going to break apart when you're riding them, it comes often in one of those transitions. I'm very pleased with the way this horse is trotting. He's covering some ground. He's got himself in a good frame. He's got his head up just a tiny bit, but that's okay. I believe that'll come down. I'll turn him back to the inside, and we'll send him off on a lope. Now see, he jumped off on the wrong front lead, immediately changed it, but he's still wrong behind. One of the things I've been working on is transition, so I'm going to do a simple change. All of that stuff banging around him is just education. It's just education. Now when we reverse directions, that's when a horse can get troubled. Now the left lead has been problematic for him, so we'll see if we can step him off. And there again, he was looking to the outside, so he reached for that outside lead initially. I'll break him down. See, and he's a little more persistent. What's interesting is, there we go. He was getting this right, but with all this stuff banging, he sort of forgot. And there goes one Shoshin jug, one down, about 4 to go, 5 to go. See what he does when he goes by it. I didn't leap it. Whoop. But the good news is, the Flamingo is making a qualified ride. And we'll do a little transition down to a trot. Just come on back here, buddy. Step him back up to a lope. Transition back down to a trot. Stepping back up to a lope. Those transitions are real good because you're going to want to have some speed control kind of built into him. I didn't actually ask him for that, but I'm not going to fault him too much for it. Just face me and stop. There, see him chewing? The other thing, I think he had retained a mouthful of alfalfa from being tied out with that hay bag, and I heard him coughing a little bit. Now, I think he still had a knot of that alfalfa. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to turn him over here in this place that he wants to turn. Let's see if he can walk off. See if he can still walk off. So here are the 4 goals, and I say this a lot of times. Goal number 1, you don't get yourself hurt. Goal number 2, you don't get your horse hurt. Goal number 3, your horse should be as calm when you finish, or more so, than when you started. Goal number 4, if you can, you'd like to think you got something done in the session. The 4th one is optional. As long as you don't do anything bad, you're at least break even. And I would say we got a little something done here. I like where his head is. I like that he's walking off quietly. So that's what we're doing when we meet up with the milk jugs and the Flamingo and the fishing buoy and the shavings bag. It's all education. And when I get on his back and I'm rattling around like a flamingo, I may have a higher chance of survival, and that's good for him and even better for me. Thank you.